Watching WYLN TV 35. Now, from the area's leader in live local news, this is WYLN News, the area's #1 source of live local news and information in Luzerne, Schuylkill, Carbon, and Columbia counties. WYLN News starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on WYLN News. I'm Paula Degnan. Hurricane Ian, now Tropical Storm Ian, brought destruction to the southwest coast of Florida, and while it has lost much of its initial strength, it continues to produce heavy rain and flooding. Ian made landfall yesterday as a Category 4 hurricane with 150-mile-an-hour winds, tying it for the 5th strongest hurricane when measured by wind speed to hit the U.S. Around 9 o'clock Wednesday night, winds decreased to 110 miles an hour. By 11, Ian lost more wind power to 90 miles an hour. As of 5 o'clock this morning, the wind speeds are down to 65 miles an hour and now has been weakened to a tropical storm. Authorities confirmed at least one storm death in Florida. President Joe Biden issuing a disaster declaration today after more than 2.5 million Florida homes and businesses were left without electricity. According to the National Hurricane Center, flooding rains continue across central and northern Florida, and up to a foot of rain is predicted in northeast Florida, coastal Georgia, and lower South Carolina. The governors of South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia all preemptively declared states of emergency. A man and woman were arrested on Tuesday in Luzerne County and faced charges for allegedly possessing 105 bags of drugs and thousands of dollars in cash. Police responded to the Wilkes-Barre Township Walmart to the report of retail theft. When officers arrived, the Walmart loss prevention workers had 23-year-old Lana Johnson in custody for trying to steal children's clothing. When police searched Johnson, they found a bag containing 20 smaller bags of drugs, including suspected meth and fentanyl, over $600 in cash, and 2 cell phones, as well as several empty plastic bags. As she was being taken into custody in the cruiser, 47-year-old Vance Dawson of Hazleton arrived on the scene, riding with a Lyft driver who brought the two there, asking police what would happen to her. The loss prevention worker identified Dawson and Johnson as 2 of the individuals involved in a retail theft the day before. He was taken into custody, and a search of his person revealed over $6,700 in cash. The Lyft driver then told police 2 of their bags were still in his vehicle and willingly turned them over. Inside, multiple bags of suspected meth, fentanyl, and crack cocaine. Dawson now faces 2 counts of possession with intent to manufacture or deliver drugs and 1 count of retail theft. He's now being held in the Luzerne County Prison on $50,000 bail. Johnson facing the same charges as well as endangering the welfare of children as a parent or guardian, corruption of minors, and an additional retail theft charge, was also remanded to Luzerne County Prison on $25,000 bail. An asphalt milling machine used by road construction crews caught fire late Tuesday in Hazleton. Firefighters were called to the Arthur Gardner Highway and Powell Drive around 11:30 that night after a passerby called Luzerne County 911 to report a fire. Crews arrived to find the large piece of equipment that was parked in an auto repair shop ablaze. Crews used about 3,000 gallons of water pumped from trucks to extinguish the fire and cool the machine. A preliminary investigation determined the cause undetermined but not suspicious. That's according to Deputy Chief Brian Mandak. The fire produced a lot of smoke in the area, but no injuries were reported and a minimal amount of fluids leaked. After a hearing this morning in Luzerne County, a second complaint of animal cruelty charges against Darren Snyder were thrown out. District Justice Rick Cronauer ruled the charge against the Wilkes-Barre City Controller heard today was a duplicate of another incident from August 1st, 2nd, which was dismissed earlier this month. Today's was for a complaint made by a Wilkes University employee August 3rd. Both complaints involved allegations made by witnesses of Snyder yanking his dogs, one of them off the ground, by their leashes. The Wilkes-Barre Zoning Hearing Board approved renovations to a site on New Hill Street, which will now house a 100-bed addiction treatment center. The facility will treat both men and women and accept Medicaid. The board also voted to approve the Wright Center to operate a medical clinic at a building they purchased from King's College that's located on North Pennsylvania Avenue. They hope to have it ready to see patients by mid-December. Berwick Hospital has been given permission by the state to convert into a mental health facility. The certificate of compliance was actually issued September 19th, but the Department of Human Services didn't release information until yesterday. According to the certificate, the facility is allowed to fill only 14 beds, and an accompanying letter notes the license is for a new program that hasn't yet started. Once the new program becomes operational, the department may send a licensing representative for a follow-up visit. In the meantime, the new program is licensed through September 19th of 2023. Priyam Sharma, who owns the for-profit hospital through Fayette Holding Company, plans to add 39 beds, bringing the total to 53, and expects the hospital will employ about 100 people. Once again, a report of a theft of a catalytic converter, this time from McCarthy Tire and Automotive on Airport Road in Hazel Township. Pennsylvania State Police at Hazleton say it was taken sometime over last weekend from a Ford Explorer in the parking lot. Anyone with information is asked to contact State Police Troop N. The Luzerne County Board of Elections held a special meeting last night to talk about possible new locations for an election drop box in southern Luzerne County. A county election board majority granted conditional approval for two options for a Hazleton mail ballot drop box for the November 8th general election. Pending verification, all conditions are met. The sites proposed are Luzerne County Community College, Hazleton, or the Hazleton One Community Center. The next step is to find out if they would approve hosting such a site and if the sites comply with the new guidelines for camera security surveillance. The site that had been used in previous elections at Hazleton City Hall no longer met those requirements. A new location must be in place by the second week of October, or there will not be a drop box location in that part of the county for the upcoming November election. Coming up on WYLN News, what's the deal with the blue caboose in Exeter? Stick around and find out. Plus, our OT hero talks with Connor Shamani on the upcoming Cougars matchup. But first, we'll take a look at our 5-day forecast brought to you by the WYLN Weather Kids. We'll be right back.
My name is Alexander Vanilla. I'm 12 years old, and this is your WYLN forecast for the week.
We want your child to be our WYLN Weather Kid. Your child can be our feature weather reporter of the day on WYLN News and WYLN social media posts just by using your smartphone or any video recording device. It's easy. All ages are welcome, from toddlers to teens. To find out how, go to the weather section of WYLNTV.com or look for our post about it on the WYLN News Facebook page. Submit your Weather Kid video today. SJ Kowalski is your Mitsubishi Diamond Contractor. They can install a Mitsubishi electric Mr. Slim ductless heating and cooling system. Mr. Slim systems are designed to make any living space in your home inviting. You can have a different temperature control for every room in your home. The money-saving technology can save you 25 to 50% on your heating bill. For Mitsubishi, Rinnai, and trained comfort specialists, call SJ Kowalski at 570-455-2600.
You always get a feel-good shopping experience at Grand Central in Hazleton.
Have you ever experienced that super pushy salesperson who follows you all around? Not here.
Or wandered around that big box store looking for help in the appliance department, only to find the pink guy? Not here.
And we have an experienced, courteous sales staff here to help you find the perfect mattress, piece of furniture, or appliance with no pressure.
And don't forget, everyday low prices.
You always get a feel-good shopping experience at Grand Central in Hazleton.
It's high school football time. Watch WYLN for all the local high school football action as we bring you the event, not just the highlights, like only WYLN can. Watch the game of the week right here on WYLN. We're your local network. For the best in local sports, watch WYLN TV 35. The event, not just the highlights.
You may notice a blue caboose on the grounds outside the building in Exeter which once housed Pride Mobility. That building is now home to the global headquarters of Power Rail. The company engineers, manufactures, and distributes aftermarket locomotive parts throughout the world. A ribbon-cutting ceremony was held yesterday at the building on Susquehanna Avenue. The company was founded in Wilkes-Barre in 2003 and has 5 other facilities in the U.S., a parallel company in Australia, partnerships in Canada, and a service outfit in Germany. Company officials say as they continue to expand, they're always looking for new employees, and you can find out more by visiting epowerrail.com. If you need help with water bills or wastewater services, there's a federal program you should know about. The Low-Income Household Water Assistance Program is designed to help families with past due bills who have had their water service terminated or received notice that it will be in the next 60 days. The program began in January but will end October 28th. You can still apply at the state's Compass website or a Department of Human Services office in your area. dhs.pa.gov has more information, but remember, you only have until October 28th. WYLN's OT hero, Marty Burns, has the in-depth analysis of what's happening on and off season across our viewing area. So, let's talk sports.
Joined by number 6, Connor Shamani, a veteran to the show. And Connor, thanks for joining us this week.
Thank you for having me.
And, you know, we joke about it, but, you know, even off the field, you know, you guys getting together to help Ryan become senior class president, you know, just that the togetherness that this team has. Talk about whether it's on the field or off the field.
You know, it creates a bond, and I think that's the biggest thing. The past couple years, you know, most kids didn't hang out like we do. And I think that's why we do have the success we have, is because we're always together. And it does create chemistry, and it creates a bond that, you know, will be forever, you know.
I think this group understands how important it is to be home come November.
Right.
So you got to take care of business, and you got to take care of business at home.
Absolutely. I mean, especially for the fans as well. I mean, this upcoming game Friday, I mean, there's supposed to be, you know, a couple thousand people, and, you know, you want to play at home. You know, you like playing away, but it's always nice to come home. And I think to have that final stretch at home, it's gonna help us out too.
Well, Connor, thanks so much for joining us this week.
I appreciate it.
Best of luck in the
Thank
rest
you.
of your senior year.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Coming up on Drums News Choice, we go back to Freeland for another walk down a path through history with Chris Fulmer. Plus, Leading the Way, Part 4. And stay with us for everything else we have lined up for you later tonight on WYLN TV.
Your guide to everything Pocono Mountains is PTN, the Pocono Television Network. Watch PTN on WYLN.
Hi, I'm Marty Burns. Join myself and head football coach at Hazleton area, Dennis Bookman, for Sports Talk, your weekly source for Hazleton area high school football. We'll go over the past week's game with highlights, look ahead to a future opponent, and have a special guest from the Cougar football program, just like senior quarterback Tyler Wolf. Tyler, what do you have to say to send us out?
Go Cougars.
Sports Talk every week here on WYLN, brought to you by the Lehigh Valley Health Network, Hazleton.
Getting to the finish line starts with Lehigh Valley Orthopedic Institute, the region's leader in sports medicine. Our specialists use the most advanced technology for faster, better results, so elite and everyday athletes can compete like champions once again. Lehigh Valley Orthopedic Institute. Your health deserves a partner.
Hey, did you know WYLN posts news stories and other bonus content on social media all week long? The Weather Kids, Fresh from the Farm, Everyday Heroes, Let's Talk Sports, Feel Good Friday, daily news stories, and more. Visit WYLNTV.com, Facebook, and YouTube to check it out. WYLN, the local leader on social media. We're your local network. Come shoot at Whitetail Preserve, 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicapped accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 or 570-790-8969.
Like and follow WYLN News on Facebook for the midday WYLN News update, posted between noon and 2 p.m. Powered by Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazleton, the all-new emergency room at Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazleton is nearly double the size. Our updated facility features all private rooms, the latest technology, and a quicker, easier check-in process. Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazleton, your partner in ER care.
As the 1900s dawned, coal was still the major economic force of the Freeland area. Beginning on September 17, 1900, though, all miners would go on strike. The main cause of this walkout in this case would be the miners' grievances over being forced to pay for the explosives they used in the mine at coal companies' stores for exorbitant prices. Thus, their demands to the owners were to have this business practice terminate, as well as to be given a living wage. Tensions would run high around Freeland during the strike, although Sheriff James Harvey was able to largely keep peace in town. During the slightly more than a month the strike lasted, Freeland would play host to several labor leaders. United Mine Workers President John Mitchell would address a large crowd in Public Park, shortly having done the same thing in Jeddo, and noted labor activist Mary Harris Jones, better known as Mother Jones, would similarly speak at the Grand Opera House. The strike would end on October 29th after the mine owners were pressured into making concessions by both J.P. Morgan, whose banks own many of the mines and railroads in the region, and by National Republican Party boss Mark Hanna, who worried that a long strike would hurt President William McKinley's re-election chances. In the end, the owners agreed to a minor wage increase and to end the institution of grievance procedures, but still refused to recognize the UMW. Nonetheless, the strike was successful for Mitchell and the union, whose ranks swelled from tens of thousands of previously non-union miners of every conceivable ethnicity who had walked out during the picketing, and this would give Mitchell confidence to launch a larger strike 2 years later. Freeland, however, hadn't seen the last of strikes that year. Around the time the coal miners were on strike, the mostly female employees of the Freeland Silk Mill also walked out, demanding work time be cut from the 10 hours they were currently set out, in addition to regular Saturday and work hours as well, and wage increases to $3 for spinners and lacers and $4 for everyone else. This would culminate in a harsh showdown with the law, in which one policeman would be charged with choking out a female striker, and numerous demonstrators would be imprisoned. In the end, however, the silk strikers' demands would be mostly met. Eventually, labor calm would return to the Freeland area. Notable businesses that would open the following years would include the Freeland Brewing Company, opened in 1907 at Fern and South Streets. It would sell such brands as Freeland Ale, Freeland Bock, and Freeland Porter. During World War I, the Freeland Manufacturing Company opened on South Street, originally making ship parts, including ship propellers. And clothing manufacturers continued to thrive, with the Freeland Dress Company, Freeland Mills Incorporated, and Freeland Bobbin Company all operating within town limits. And Freelanders would get their own place to watch movies and vaudeville shows when the Refuge Theater opened in February 1914 at the corner of Center and Main Streets.
Penn State Hazleton is improving the lives of others, starting in our community.
Providing degrees that meet the needs of the area.
Fueling entrepreneurship and contributing more than $36 million annually to the state's economy.
Researching the health of our local ecosystem on the Susquehanna River.
Together, our impact keeps growing, backed by the strength of 24 campuses and 700,000 alumni.
Your guide to everything Pocono Mountains is PTN, the Pocono Television Network. Watch PTN on WYLN.
You always get a feel-good shopping experience at Grand Central in Hazleton.
Have you ever experienced that super pushy salesperson who follows you all around? Not here.
Or wandered around that big box store looking for help in the appliance department, only to find the pink guy? Not here.
And we have an experienced, courteous sales staff here to help you find the perfect mattress, piece of furniture, or appliance with no pressure.
And don't forget, everyday low prices.
You always get a feel-good shopping experience at Grand Central in Hazleton.
PPW Nation, get ready for the best of PPW Season 2. Join Paul Bowe, E. Julius Kuiper, Alexander Bravado, Tom Mitchell, and Alex Watt as we take you down memory lane and relive some of the best PPW matches of all time. Saturdays at 5 p.m., Sundays at 10 p.m., only on WYLN. Coming soon to the Wilty Center at the Historic Castle, 700 North Wyoming Street in Hazleton, it's Jukebox Heroes Live. Check it out October 14th. The show starts at 8 and the tickets are available at eventbrite.com.
Stay tuned, where we're going to come back to Let's Talk Chiropractic with the Demo Derby back and the new patient who was nervous about her visit. It's going to be an excellent show.
WYLN's going behind the scenes to learn more about the lives and goals of our local leaders. So, Yosara Yoshi Gonzalez is leading the way into part 4 of this week's series. I'm loving spending this week with Yoshi Gonzalez. She is the new executive director of the Downtown Hazleton Alliance. What a journey. You should be a travel agent besides being an architect and a painter and a mom. So now you were in Hazleton, had 2 children, a business that was starting up again, and now you're gone back to the Dominican Republic. What happened?
I got called to start a firm in Dominican Republic, an architectural firm. Spent 2 months trying to put it together. Unfortunately, it didn't work out with my business partners. So my husband, he's a great musician. He's a drummer. He's also a great cook. He worked with different chefs in New York, and he has a lot of experience, and he tapped into the culinary arts always. So we're like, why not open up a restaurant and then try to make a fusion with the arts, and then I could sell my stuff from, set up a gallery space where I could sell, have a gift shop, sell some of our unique jewelry pieces.
And he could be entertainment for dinner. Wow.
Exactly. So we went for it. he opened up the space with a good friend of ours at the time. I helped design the whole space.
And this was in the Dominican Republic?
In the colonial zone in the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
So I would teach art classes from there. I also taught in the school where I graduated from in Chabón. So I did that. We ran the business, almost a small town, kind of like what's happening here in the downtown. We implemented the idea of bringing live music into your coffee shop space or your restaurant spaces, which they weren't doing at the time, at least not at small coffee shops and restaurants. So we started implementing that in our street in Las Mercedes, which was a very well-known street in the colonial zone. If you don't know a little bit of history of Dominican Republic, we are the island where Christopher Columbus landed.
Yes.
And all the first cathedrals are there, our first churches. They're different churches. They're all the houses of, the colonial people of the time are set there.
So how long were you able to keep the restaurant going, and then all of a sudden you're back here now?
2 years and a half we had the restaurant. We were opening a co-work space, so we're about to have 2 spaces, and then I find out I'm pregnant.
Number 3!
With our 3rd child, the little girl that we've been waiting for. We came here to visit the family. We came every year. We never stopped coming back. We have strong ties here in Hazleton with my husband's family. And we came for a trip, and it was such a big toll, teaching art classes, running the restaurant, then starting a coffee shop. And, we had great success in town, but I wanted to be more with my children at home, and I was about to start in this journey all over again.
So
we needed the support of the family, and I told him, you know what, it's time. Let's come back, we'll have the baby here and see what happens. So we sold everything and moved back to Hazleton.
Wow, talk about adventures. That's amazing. And I have to say that after everything I've heard, you were born for this job that you have now, because it sounds like every piece that you've done is an important part of the resume for what you're doing now. And when we come back tomorrow, we're going to find out more about being the executive director of the Downtown Hazleton Alliance, right here on Leading the Way. And that's the news. Remember, the source matters now more than ever. Catch all the latest on our Facebook page, YouTube page, or at WYLNTV.com. Stay with us. A look at today's weather is next, right here on WYLN TV.